Hello there and welcome to the next Year of Beer blog for 2009. Just gonna we'll just whip those off the heat. Now, a bit of a beer and food blog today. Got some sausages charring nicely there. The beer that we're going to be tasting today, I'm very excited about this. It's the Carnegie Porter. It's a very famous Danish porter. Porter, of course, was a London thing initially. It started off as a fairly strong brown beer, fairly well hopped, and this beer is kind of it's something of a legend. It says on the back of the label that Carnegie Porter was brewed for the first time in 1836, and it tastes the same today as it did then, which is quite a boast. As I was saying, porter is kind of a London thing. Brown beer, fairly well hopped. It was stored for a while, so it got it picked up a slightly lactic edge, a slightly vinegary infected edge from the vats that it was stored in, and it would also have tasted slightly smoky as well, because a lot of the malt back then was still very smoky. The purpose of storing it in wood was to play down the smoky character. But of course, like all things, we've moved on. That was nearly 300 years ago, and now porter is a style that's brewed in lots and lots of different ways. So this, I guess, broadly speaking, is more of a Baltic porter. So what we're expecting a lot of chocolate, a lot of kind of dark coffee-ish aromas there, and the hops. It's supposed to be a fairly highly hopped beer. So let's stop talking about it. Big sniff, so it's got a nice kind of creamy coffee-ish smell to it. Not a lot of hoppiness on the nose there. Texture is fabulous. Lovely kind of silky, creamy texture. Carbonation is fairly low, which is really something that I enjoy, beers with slightly lower carbonation. And if you can see, it's just got a lovely, lovely texture. It's leaving lovely creamy legs down the glass. It's got a little bit of hop bitterness, but what you've got in there, a lot of dark malt, roasted coffee flavours. There's a little bit more kind of lighter fruit, a little sort of red berry, a little bit almost maybe like a bitter orange in there as well, which I guess maybe coming from the hops. It's a lovely, lovely beer. They produce it in two strengths. My friend Andreas, who gave me this bottle, he uses the lower strength, the 3.5% for cooking with. This is the stronger one, 5.5%. This is for drinking with food. You can just drink it without food if you want. We're not going to lay down rules that you need to drink everything with food. But I said to him, what's it good with? And he said, it's good with everything. It's good with, meat, seafood, it's just one of those beers that goes with everything. So I thought, what would be fun is I actually came across a recipe. It's not really a recipe, it's more of a way of eating oysters. And the idea is that you have a lovely ice cold oyster, and then you've got a lovely spicy hot sausage, so a little bit charred there. I like my sausages a little bit charred and dark. I'm just going to chop these up into slices. Just need that to cool off a little bit. The sausages are from Ricky the Butcher, Lomberhay Farm. He's a bit of a character. These are wild boar and chilli, so they're going to have a nice kind of porkiness to them and a nice chilli kick. Now, oyster shucker. I'm not really sure why I've decided to do this live, so keep watching because there's a good chance I might run this through my hand. Oysters are a little bit tricky. You just need to find the point on the edge of the shell where they're going to give, and then you just have to force a knife in, rip the top off, scrape down. Fantastic. Now you need to keep all the seawater in there. That's a very important thing apparently. So let's just prime the palate. Bit of porter. Lovely. A bit of a rich fruitiness starting to come through. So we've got fresh oyster here. Fantastic, beautifully fresh, lovely and cold, just taste of the sea. Pork and chilli sausage. That's a great sausage. Completely. That's fabulous. Another oyster. Okay. Got a bit of shell in it there. Let's do it the other way around. We're going to have porter. Lovely. Fruit opening up, fantastic. Hot spicy sausage. And oyster. That's a fabulous combination. And it's nice having the oysters. The oysters with the porter work really well, because oysters used to be a food for poor people. So into the 1700s, 1800s, and on towards the end of the 1800s, oysters were just kind of like seen as a staple. And of course porter is a London thing as well, so it's nice to have that kind of symmetry. Let's do one more oyster. We've got one more sausage there. Come on, you bad boy. Get in there. Right, oyster. Which way around are we going to do it? Let's go. I liked it sausage first, so porter. That's a really lovely porter. Smooth, rich, creamy, lots of layers. You know, I would say maybe not a typical London porter or a historically correct porter, but it's a hell of a drink, and it's a really, really nice example of a Baltic porter. Sausage. That's really nice. The little burnt bits on the sausage, picking up the smoky, charred flavours in the porter. Lots of lovely, spicy, salty flavours. And finally, last oyster. That is a hell of a combination. They just work so well up against each other. Really, really recommend that. Oysters you can get everywhere. Pork sausage with a bit of chilli you can get everywhere. We might struggle to hunt down this exact porter. I would say it's worth it, but bloody hell, that's a great, really, really great combination. I'm pleased I ran the risk of shoving this bad boy through my hand to do that, because that was exceptional. Right, we've got one sausage left. That's going to make a tiny sausage sandwich. No more oysters. A bottle of Carnegie Porter. That sounds like a good evening to me. We'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. Cheers.